Mr. Marc Rousso. How are you?
How you doing, brother?
I am good. I'm good. I'm really enjoying talking to you already. I got a big smile on my face. Two reasons though. Number one is because you're so close to me that
Yes.
with a bad attitude and a good arm, I could probably hit your house with a baseball.
Yeah. Vancouver and Seattle are not very far apart.
Not very far, but you live in one of the most beautiful parts there, which is the island, Mercer Island.
Yeah, Mercer Island. Yeah, that's right. It's between Seattle and Bellevue.
Yeah, great
right
place.
in Lake Washington.
Love it. And man, that lake is busy.
Yeah, a lot of boats.
All the sailboats going back and forth, and I'm maybe the guy that looks over too much when I'm driving through there. And then of course I laugh at the exit called Chuck a Nut. Let's leave that alone.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's good for 10 minutes of conversation every
Canadian
time.
humor.
Yeah. Hey, Marc, as we start off this episode, though, the people in the Profit Tool Belt world, who are all construction professionals like you, maybe don't know who you are. So can you tell us who the heck you are and why you would be talking to this group of forward-facing construction and contracting business owners?
Well, I appreciate giving me this opportunity. And you asked, I'll just start with what I'm looking to get. And I'm not looking to get anything from this. My whole mission is to be able to give a value, to fellow contractors and builders out there in the community. And, who am I? I'm a builder that builds luxury custom homes in the Seattle marketplace. We do about 30 to 40 homes, average price in that $3 million price point. And I, like many of you, like during the downturn of the recession in 2007, lost everything and had to restart my business from scratch or from below scratch. And so it's just like trials and tribulations to kind of get to where we are now, and running a high cultural centric, customer service oriented business. And I'm happy to provide whatever insights I may have about that journey and what makes us successful today.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Marc. And isn't it crazy how easy it is to say the sentence, in 2007 things got bad and we struggled through? Because when you're struggling through that in 2007, 8, it doesn't seem like it's ever going to be a sentence that you look back to. So in just
it was at times I could actually, burst into tears when I think about what that was like. 2000 and, we didn't take a paycheck from 2008 through 2012. So it was 5 years without a paycheck. I mean, it was not fun, but that's part of the story. And I think that, the greatest value that I got from that was a sense of humbleness and a sense of humility and realizing that whatever I was aspiring to be and or have, like that, you don't need that much. When you have zero, and in our case, we owed about $2.5 million when we were able to pay back all of our assets. It's humbling, and you realize that you don't need as much money, you don't need as many things. You just, and it really prioritizes what's important, and I think God gave us the gift, at least gave me the gift, to be able to look inward and say, okay, well, what is it that you're going to learn from this? And how are you going to adjust how am I going to adjust my life? And how am I going to spend more time doing the things that I want, that I want to be doing or should be doing, not looking over my shoulder of what another builder or developer had done, or what someone else's definition of success was. Because, in this industry, you're measured by, well, how is that person doing? Or how's that person, how many houses is that guy building? Or how much money is that guy doing? And or the car or the house or whatever it may be. And the reality is that we're all on this journey, and the key is defining our own definition of success and just going down that path.
You've taken some amazing and wise lessons from that, because there's somebody listening right now, Marc, that is actually in their own personal 2007, 2008.
Sure.
And the real, and I've been there too. It sucks. And it sucks
Sucks.
at the kitchen table when you're talking to your wife in front of the kids about, yeah, we can't go away. Maybe we should stay
Mhm.
local. Uh, oh, braces. How are we going to make that happen?
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, or hey, sorry, you got binders and paper for Christmas. Sorry, did I just give away too much? But you know what I mean? Like there's years when you're just like, what am I doing? It would be
Mhm.
easier to go get a job. But we're not wired that way, are we?
No, in fact, I was offered a job, during the recession, and I hadn't gotten a paycheck for 2 years, and I was offered a job by a big developer to come work for him. And
Yeah.
it's like that changes your trajectory in one sense. And I didn't take that job, and I still didn't get a paycheck for 2 more years afterwards. And I know that, like I thank my wife all the time because she actually had to support us. And it's like we all have to have in those times. If someone is in that time, I would say what got me through it is, one, having a vision for what it is that I wanted out of life, or what it is that I wanted in business, and then just trying to hit a single and get the momentum going in the direction that was not backwards. Because when you
Facing
lose
forward.
everything and you're what's that?
You just want to be facing forward, always
Yes.
facing forward,
Mhm.
pushing forward. Yeah.
That's right. Just one step at a time. Like hitting a single to get on base. Like trying to bunt just to get somewhere. And moving the direction in a way that is positive and can get just a little momentum. And then once you start doing that, then you see a few things that kind of can like go your way. But you just gotta keep after it. Day
Yeah.
by day. And it can be a slog, and it was certainly a slog for us for years.
So there's so many places I want to go on this conversation. Let me remind everybody that the actual title, whether we stick to it or not, Mark, is How Crisis Created a Luxury Home Builder. So that's
Sure.
that's the working title we've got. But let me ask this then: before the 2007 situation, were you doing luxury homes before then?
No, we were land developers. And so my business partner and I, Jay, we just celebrated 30 years as business partners. We
Wow.
To go backwards, in 1990, we started a business we were DJs at all the fraternities and sororities in University of Washington.
And you're still a
Um,
DJ. You're a house music DJ.
yes,
I love it.
I'm aspiring to be an international house music DJ at DJ Marc Rousso on my Instagram account. And yes, so that I brought that passion back because I love it so much.
Perfect.
And so we started as DJs. We did that for about 5 years, sold the business for 15 grand, started buying fixer houses, kept them all as rentals. By the time we were 30, we had 35 rentals. And then we found a piece of property that had a little bit of land on it, learned the short plat process, started doing short plats, in our 30s.
Yeah.
Those 2-lot short plats, 3-lot short plats turned into 20 and 30-lot short plats. We had about 250 lots that we were developing in 2007.
Yeah. Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think both you and I know what a short plat is, but they're called different things in different parts of the country or the world. That's
Okay.
when you're just my definition. It's when you're subdividing an existing lot into smaller lots and building a home.
For sure. That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah, it's called different things in different places. So I just wanted to define that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we became land developers in our 30s, and we would sell land to local home builders in the community. And then as the market turned, we lost everything, and land went down 80% during that time.
Wow.
There was no way that my performance could adjust. And we got too greedy, and we got too far over our skis, and it kind of shapes who we are as a builder now, where the only way we could have gotten out of that mess is not to have any loans, to be it in all cash. And that's kind of what guides us now, is just being safe and secure and have high liquidity, and just making sure that we're staying consistent and constant, not trying to go for the big win.
So what an incredible story. So you started as DJs, and then you got into land, rentals, fix
Yes.
it, flip
Yep.
it, rehabs. And
That's
then
right.
you went into land development where you're subdividing or cutting big lots into smaller lots.
That's
And
right.
now you're a luxury home builder, but you and your partner have been consistent throughout the whole thing. What do you guys use as a system to stay focused on the future? Do you use strategic planning? Are you guys just like,
Great.
business soulmates? Like what's the magic there that we could take as a lesson?
Well, there's a lot of, I could speak solely with my partnership. Jay has been a great partner. It's been 30 years, and we are the opposite. I'm the extrovert, he's the introvert. I'm the visionary, he's the get shit done kind of guy. And he allows me to kind of be me, and I let him just find his role, and he does what he does, and he does a fantastic job at it. And it's not been without struggle or challenges. It's like a marriage, 30 years, and we have developed like a brotherly love. We can finish each other's sentences. I was at dinner with him last night, and I was laughing so hard I was crying, just like the inside jokes that we have. But all kidding aside, is a mutual respect, for one another. And he respects what I bring, to the company, and I respect what he does, and that's what makes a great partnership. And I think that ever since the beginning, like I remember distinctively when, let's just use for example the fixer business, buying fixers. Right. I was like, hey, I have an idea. We met at Chinese food for lunch. On the back of a napkin, I basically said, hey, here's my vision for building wealth and buying rentals, and we're going to buy them this way, and we're going to fix them this way, and we're going to refinance them, and then we're going to be able to do more of these, and we're going to go after it. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And so the role between the two of us was that I would create the vision for where we were going, and he would help me. He would help accomplish it. And over the course of years, I've been in EO since 2003, 2004. Went through the executive master's program, and so the visionary in me would do it on yellow pads or journals, and we would journal where we were going to go and what the goals that we were going to accomplish, and that way. And then once I got into EO and started learning that there were systems and processes that you could use the Rockefeller habits, you could use, Vern Harnish, and you could have a one-page strategic plan to guide any business and every business, no matter how big you are. Then we started to put systems and processes in place. And so yes,
we might be brothers, Mark. We have pending awkward conversations with our parents because you and I might actually be brothers.
I love it.
So I think this is where.
Why do you say that? Tell me why.
Because I think in listening to you, I have a very similar approach. When I had a business running with my cousin for a very long time, and it was doing okay, doing fine. I wasn't doing great though. And so one day, out of frustration, I went and sat at a gas station, Tim Hortons. And you know what Tim Hortons are, right? It's our local coffee.
Great donuts.
Yeah. And so it's one of those places you don't even sit. You sort of stand at this two-top table. And I sat there with a piece of paper, and I reinvented the paper, the business on paper. And then I brought it back to him and said, hey, this isn't working. We were working, but it wasn't working. I said, this is my vision for how it's going to look. And we need a product that everybody can sell, everybody can understand, easy to ship, easy to store, etc. And he's like, well, good luck finding that. And I said, I think I have, but I need your input. It's either going to be books, it's either going to be magazines, or it's either going to be records. And so we decided on books. And so within about 2 months, we had, I was on the way to building. I knew from the math on the paper, we had to have 250,000 books in inventory to sell them used on the internet.
Wow.
And that's what became eventually, then we reinvented that into a mail order pharmacy. And that's the business. I grew that to quite a large number and then sold it when I hit the number that I wanted to get out. So
That's
it's
awesome.
interesting that you've got that. Let's go to the paper. Let's go create on paper without any limitations on what can or can't be. Let me draw the future I want, and then I'll fill in the space in between. That's why I said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I love the story, and I do that. I do that for all equities of my life, because, I have a stack of, these kinds of books, and I
For those of you who aren't watching the YouTube video, Mark and I just held up the same book, basically.
Yeah, like journals, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And so here's what I do, and this may not be about, this isn't this. I'm going to go off topic. This isn't about building, but this is about life. At least it is from me, what I've been following since I was about 23 years old. I'd write this sentence: if life were perfect, in my ex life, what would it look like in a given period of time? So as an example, and there's 8 equities of life. There's family, there's physical, there's financial, there's mental, there's spiritual, there's social, career, and relationship. And relationship, I mean with your spouse.
Yeah.
Okay. And so those 8 equities of my life, kind of those like goals that I've set out every single year of like, okay, here's the goal that I have. Let's just say social. Like a big thing for me is reconnecting with friends after the pandemic. Yeah. So now, like, I want to, as an example, like I am saying, okay, well, how do I reconnect? I'm going on walks on an hour. I'm going on walks with friends 2 to 3 times a day, different friends, and I'm doing cornhole every other week. And it's a way for me to connect one-on-one, but also get people together. And because I'm an extrovert, I like people being around me. So I do that in all aspects of my life. Like, so relationship. Okay, how do I develop a closer relationship with my spouse? And what are the things that I want to do? Like whether it's date nights or whether it's going one-on-one on trips or whatever it may be. And so that has guided my life. And many people take business and finance and make up that 7/8 of their life.
Yeah. Okay.
Rather than that's just, business is just 1/8. Finance is just 1/8. Right. But like being a great dad, having a spiritual side, so anyway, so that's kind of how I've guided my life. And so I've done it from a business perspective, like on OCD, like my business plan for starting JayMarc Homes was a 56-page document that took me 6 to 8 months to create. Wow. But it's everything that I learned from Birthing at Giants and EO and books that I read and all that kind of stuff. But like the same thing, I do relatively the same thing for my life over the course of the last, 25 to 28 years.
Yeah. I love hearing you talk about this, because these are the messages that I think we can bring to other contractors and construction people. Not everybody has to have the same dream. It's whatever dream you want. But if you want that dream, if you truly want it, go get it. Nobody's allowed to tell you can't have it. And every once in a while, I'll hear from people who say, well, Dom, you don't understand, the competitors in this town, they won't let me grow. Well, I call BS on that all day long. Nobody can tell you can or can't grow or can't move into a new market. Now, if you're trying to be respectful for another, friendly competitor, I understand that as well. But there's always a way. It's up to you or me to find that way. And it's not by, and this is what I'm hearing from you, it's not by randomness. You actually take some time and you sit down and you write out with a pen, right? You're not talking about on the computer. You write by hand what you want that to look like.
Being very intentional. And I love the quote that you just that from The Pursuit of Happiness, that's like the best quote that was in that movie, where he's with his son on the basketball court, right? And and his son is like, I want to be an NBA basketball player. And Will Smith goes, son, if you're anything like me, you're never going to be a great basketball player, because I never really had coordination and so on and so forth. And then he sat with his son. He was there for like 30 seconds, and he realized because his son got deflated and he didn't want to play basketball anymore. And then he goes back to his son. He's like, says, son, don't you ever let anyone tell you that you can't do anything. Yeah. Not even me.
Not even me. Right.
Not even me. And so, and if you take that perspective in any aspect of life, or all aspects of life, it's anything is possible if you have the intention and you work towards accomplishing it. And I know that and you just have to have a general focus. You have a general idea of what it is that you want in it. But if you don't put any focus on it, if you don't put any work towards it, it's a wish.
Right.
But like if you actually put intentionality around it, that becomes a goal, and that becomes like an action plan and whatnot. And so as we look into our own business, and because the question that you asked is what kind of systems and processes and stuff that we have at JayMarc, is that we follow the Rockefeller habits. We have a one-page strategic plan, and in our company, we set 3 or 4 goals as a company. Mm-hmm. And everyone in the company, specifically departments, has their own rocks that they work on each and every quarter.
Right.
And every quarter we have a company meeting. We have 35 people that work at JayMarc, and maybe 14 different departments. And the departments heads get up and they brag about what they did for the quarter.
Right.
And it's a way for them to be able to share, like, this is what I did. And then the next month we have an all company meeting. And it's talking about, okay, here's what I'm going to do for the quarter. And so it's like all this intentionality about always constantly moving and just trying to move 1% a month.
That's it. Just a little step forward. You're not trying to, like you said, hit singles.
Just hit singles. And what's awesome and amazing, and we have a whole, a whole kind of method to what those meetings are all about and why. But it gets people to buy in because I'm not telling them what to do.
I'm so glad you said that. Oh, sorry. Keep going. Tell me why you're not telling them what to do in the strategic planning process.
I'm not telling them what to do because when they think of what it is to do, it empowers them.
It's their idea.
It's their idea. And it may be, I may guide them, and I may I may guide them in a way, but I don't get into their micromanagement of their department. I want them to believe, I want them to be the owner of it. I want them to have the accountability. And when I'm not top down of a leader, I'm a bottom up leader, encouraging, inspiring, motivating, caring, loving. Then I have an entire workforce that is empowered to do and be more.
I love this, by the way. At what stage of your business growth did you start using the strategic planning format? When you came out of the 2007, 2008, maybe even 2012, when you built your first luxury home? Like, when did you start on this path of saying we need a plan that we stick to?
That one-page strategic plan came, early on, certainly. It was in the first, like, when I started this company of JayMarc Homes, which we founded about 11 years ago, was when we were using 100% the one-page strategic plan. Like, we had brought in a coach to kind of help us and get it all going. That was one of the Rockefeller Habits coaches, and it's like he would help us with strategic planning. And so now we have an outside consultant help us quarterly with our year, quarterly as an executive team, be able to guide us kind of down a path. So it's constantly. I'm a firm believer in personal growth and development, having people around me being able to guide me and support me in whatever it is, may shape that I can do. And I know that an outside influence is far better to be able to help me in my strategic planning than me trying to do it myself.
It's just a different voice with a perspective, and Yeah, I agree. It sounds self-serving for me to say I agree, but I use outside coaches to help me because I can't see my own blind spots. I can't see my limiting beliefs, and I need them to hold up. We call it the mirror of accountability, and say, well, hang on a second, why, how did this hit the paper? Actually, let me
Right.
let me go to that for a second. You came through a really tough time, you and your partner.
Mhm.
I can't say that you had macaroni and cheese for dinner, but I can't say you didn't with your family around the table. Why didn't you stay small? Why didn't you just say, okay, look, we tried to reach for the stars and we got smacked down. Let's just build this kind of company instead of saying a luxury home business in one of the most beautiful parts of the Pacific Northwest. How did you how did you choose to do that instead of something small and safe and
Well, let
limiting?
me I from I'm I needed to have a business big enough that I could have professionals help me run it.
Mm.
As my daughter would tell me, Dad, you're not a builder. You don't even own a hammer. So in
Do you have soft hands? I have incredible. My dad's nickname for me in Italian is not polite, and it translates roughly to Mr. Soft Hands, but it's not a nice set of words.
so and she was, she said this at one of our open houses and talked about it. And so I knew from early on that I needed professional people to help me kind of run this business, and it needed to be at a big enough stage that I have a president that runs the business. I have a CFO that runs the finance. I have a VP of sales and marketing. I have a VP of sales and interior design, VP of marketing, and VP of custom homes. So I have people that are professionals kind of run their independent businesses. Almost, I look at them as that they're the business owners of what they're doing, and I just inspire them and coach them to become better owners inside of my own business.
Right.
And so I knew that I needed to be big enough to have that professional level of help, because of what my strengths are. My strengths is I'm a visionary. My strengths is that I see into the future. I live into the future. My strengths is, culture, caring for people, loving people, inspiring and motivating them. It's not in the day to day. It's not in the weeds. But we built a company that I'm not trying to kill it, if that makes sense. Like
That's a great way to say it, man.
Like I am trying to just, when you lose everything, like I said, it gives you perspective of what you want out of life. And what I want out of life is the ability to have freedom, the ability to be able to have a business that is a great business that runs super well, but I can sleep at night. Sometimes, as home builders or in this industry, we try to make deals work. And I don't know if you understand, like if you can like visualize, but like as a real estate guy, like, oh yeah, that apartment building, God, it would be so fun to build that apartment building. Or, maybe I'll go into public storage, or maybe I'll buy that bigger plat because I want to get bigger, or I want to, or I extend myself to do more. And for me, like we've stayed consistent. Like we have two sides of our business. We have the for sale side of our business, and we have building custom homes for families on their piece of property. We have stayed consistent and constant for the amount of houses that we build and sell, at 20 homes a year.
And that's split between each of those stuff you build on spec and stuff you build for people?
That we build and sell is 20 homes a year. And we've done that for 7 years in a row, consistent and constant. Like I know it has a great even flow to it. And what we do is we buy tear down houses and build new on top. And so it's difficult to amass a certain amount of houses in a given period of time and to create an even flow process.
Right.
The other side of our business has no risk to it. It's only operational risk. But we leverage all of our systems and processes from the building and selling of houses to help families design a house and ultimately build a house.
I see. Okay, so you've got that's how you split the two there. Sorry, I didn't understand that. So some of it is building for people who have their own home that are saying,
That's right,
or their own lot, please build
That's
for me.
right.
And the other ones are
Yes.
you're going out finding homes
Yes.
on a lot that are ready for tear down, and you're adding
That's
value
right.
or plat. Yeah.
And my whole goal is safety, security, and peace of mind for the entire company, for everyone that works at JayMarc. It's not about, am I going to make an extra million? It's more about, how do I put more liquidity into JayMarc so that everyone in the company has safety, security, and peace of mind for their family. And everybody, because when my staff knows that the reason behind us growing, or the reason behind them working harder, is for their own safety and security, not from lining my pocketbooks, it becomes a whole different way of running a business, in a way that people feel truly like they value that kind of a culture. And the growth that we're happening in now is in the custom home side of the business, where it's growing exponentially, where, it was from 6 homes to 12 homes to 18 homes, to more, but I have no risk in the company. And the staff sees that this was a goal that we've been working on for years,
and that you're getting to it.
And we're getting to it. So they see the benefit of going back to the strategic plan that you were talking about. They see the benefit of having a 3-year goal of, the 3-year goal from 3 years ago was 50% of our business I wanted to have as custom homes.
Yeah.
And 50% to be for sale. Okay.
Yeah.
And now they're able to see it. And the next goal is 80% of our business to be custom homes and 20% of our business to be for sale.
So you're talking about risk mitigation.
Yes.
Right. So more safety, more security for the team, because somebody comes to you and says, redevelop my land or build on this land.
That's right. And so now you have an entire staff that is inspired about the kind of business that we're creating, because like we all know in this industry, it can be feast or famine. And when you have safety, security, and peace of mind, and that's the true value that we're aspiring to be or have, then people buy in, and we have an amazing culture. Like, people love to work at our organization. And as an example, we're hiring a new person, and they're coming from a pseudo competitor. And when that person gave her notice, the boss said, "Lucky."
Oh, really? You're lucky to be going there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's like, that's the reputation that I want to have, like that I continue to aspire to being, is like, people love to work at JayMarc. People don't ever leave for JayMarc. They become. I had another employee today, this week. I went on a walk with her, and she's like, Mark, and she's 30 some years old. She's like, you know what? I'm a lifer. I want to be with JayMarc as long as JayMarc's around.
Wow.
And so, it's like, those are the kind of things. I mean, I get chills just thinking about it, because it's a
contributor. That builds a culture. Yeah.
It's about culture. And I know that in my first business that I didn't, or JayMarc Development, when I was just a developer, I was trying to build a culture the wrong way. And I was trying to build a culture based on going out to fancy lunches, or trying to do it with money. But the reality is that if I truly try to build a culture around love and care, and that I'm sincere and authentic and transparent, like that kind of business, it has a force field around it.
And it attracts certain people, and it repels. Like, there's certain people who don't want to be part of it, which is probably perfect, because you don't want them on your team anyway.
That's right.
Yeah. I would actually add a third segment, is that somebody who is on either side of the fence, you can turn them to be a contributor, not a detractor from the company, because the culture is what holds it all together while you're off doing podcasts with me. The company's still running. That's the magic secret of business, is that if our team doesn't show up to work one day, we're in a lot of trouble. If we don't show up, everything's going to be okay as long as we're running it intentionally.
Running it, I mean, you said it right there. You're running a business intentionally. I mean, we're not in, one of my mentors, his name's Howard Behar. He's the former president of Starbucks. And he wrote a book called It's Not About the Coffee. And in the book, he says it's the reasons why it's not about the coffee is it's about the people. He's in the people business, like whether it was the people that are coming to Starbucks that they're serving, or the people that were actually behind the counter and that he was serving and being a leader too. And so when you incorporate that kind of lifestyle, or you incorporate that kind of aura in your business as a leader, and you just are serving the vendors and suppliers, or you're being there, you're in alignment with your vendors and suppliers.
So, and we can all see this. When I walk into a Dunkin' Donuts or a Tim Hortons, it's a different feeling. And I'll say it's a transactional feeling. When I walk into Starbucks, I kind of want to see if there's an open table. I mean, I'm talking about the days when we could sit at a Starbucks, but like I want to stay in the environment. The people behind the counter still start at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, but they've got a lineup of people applying for it. The other places, it's now hiring, we need somebody, blah, blah, blah. It's just a completely different animal. Completely different.
I mean, you think about, I mean, you think about things in a different way. I mean, like, I instituted just more vacation for my staff, like, in a way that, like they were having to work while their kids were taking off on public holidays. Like, for instance, like in the States, it's like Veterans Day or President's Day or Martin Luther King birthday. And those are days where, like, up until 2-3 years ago, I was having everyone work. I mean, like, of course you're just working. You need, we're striving to get ahead, but and then I also realized that between Christmas and New Year's, like, like a lot of the staff, they had family in town or they wanted to plan ahead. And so I was like, okay, if you can, some people, some in the company can't take that time off because if they're building houses or things still have to go, or finance, but I give everyone that time off between Christmas and New Year's, all the public holidays, because I think a more engaged staff with their family, right? Thinking about all those 8 equities of life, a more engaged staff with their family, or just having that extra freedom, it gives them the ability to come back and lean into the business when we're asking them, or when they're,
when they have to work late. When they have to work late, when the work has to be done, they're going to say, I'm doing it for something greater. And
I don't tell them to, right? I'm not telling them to work late. I'm not saying you should work late because you need to get that done. I'm saying, like, this is where we're going. Like, help me get, like, let's go get there for safety, security, and peace of mind for everybody.
Love it. It's so interesting. And I feel like we're running out of time, and I don't want to take a bunch of your time, but when you built your first luxury home, when you started to turn things around, did it look as smooth as it sounds now? Was
Never.
it easy?
It doesn't, even now. No, it's never like that. You're always constantly growing and always constantly getting better. And as I go on walks with my staff or my team, it's like we all realize that we're never going to arrive. And that's the beautiful thing about being in the construction business, is that we're never going to get there. We're always aspiring to be better. And that aspiration to be better helps you get better, and helps you just be a more well-run business and or a better person in general.
Let me ask you, this is a different angle than we've gone in this whole conversation, but do you think that the way you've organized your company attracts a certain type of client?
I think now we do. I think now we are realizing who our perfect client is and who our perfect client isn't.
Wow, that's a foundational question for guys like you and I, because we're both EO members, and that who is your ideal client is a foundational question. And you're still working on identifying that. You're still refining it.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
because specifically in the custom home side of the business, because like I said, like in the for sale, well, let's just say in the custom side, like you get the opportunity to build this beautiful home, right? And we got an opportunity to build this. I mean, it is absolutely stunning, but it took 3 people full time to get that to work, to get that to ultimately come together. Like 3, a project manager, a superintendent, and a junior level superintendent. 3 full-time people to make that happen, right?
To make the build happen or to get the deal to happen?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, to make the build happen, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so but it was for our ego. Like we built an amazing home.
Yeah.
But were we profitable on it? No.
Okay.
And so understanding that, and making decisions not based on ego, but making decisions based on the strong financial component of what makes you money based on the time spent. That those same 3 people, I could probably have them on the business model that we have. I could have them on 4 houses
instead of 1.
Instead of 1.
Wow. Okay.
And so now I start to look at the profitability per employee or per project, and now you're able to make the analysis of who's the best client and why. And so it's constantly evolving, and it's constantly evolving as a business and as an entrepreneur of what makes sense, and it's listening to, for me, what's valuable is listening to the team. Is like I've been going on these one-on-one walks, and it is so valuable because I'm getting people out of the office.
Yeah.
It's in nature. It's something about connecting with people out and about when they're not normal, whether it's a restaurant or coffee place or whatever. And people are able to just open up. And I learned so much about the business, and it gets me as a visionary to think, it gets me to think about what's possible, and gets me to just see if there's another way of doing business even better, or having better systems and better processes. Yeah. So it's, this whole business I love the journey.
I have to share a story with you because I did that in one of my other companies, and this was the most painful experience, but funny. Only funny if you want to laugh at Dom, though. So I had, this was in the mail order pharmacy business. A young lady there looked after our shipments. That was her job, was just looking after shipments. And so I thought, you know what, I need to talk to all of the people on my team and see if there's a better way for us to be running things. And so I didn't go for a walk. We went for coffee at the little cafe next door, classic one in an industrial park, nothing fancy. But we would just have the coffee, have a little bite to eat. And then at the end of the meeting, I would say, hey, is there anything that you think we could be doing better? And so when I asked her that, she looked at me and she was like, God, you guys never listen to me. I'm like, oh, for what? She goes, we're paying too much for shipping. We're supposed to get credits back from the post office. And I'm like, oh, okay. And again, in my head, I was shutting her down. I'm like, okay, well, tell me what it is. She goes, well, it adds up to about $5,000 a month. Well, her salary was $4,000 a month. And we had been ignoring her, asking us to do things better. And in one shot, in one meeting, she actually made us $1,000 a month on her position, on top of everything she was already doing. Great person, but like you with your example of going for a walk with people and listening to what they were saying and being in a more, I want to say, a creative environment. Yours was prettier than mine. Mine was a industrial coffee shop, but just by listening, we were able to make the business better.
And I love that example because we learned so much. I mean, yesterday I was on a walk with somebody, and she's like, I've been trying to tell you guys blah, and I can save you guys. Yeah, I can save you guys X or Y, and it's just being able to have, it goes back to schedule. It goes back to your role as an entrepreneur. If people are listening, depends on who's listening to this call, and where they want to take their business. If they want to be the CEO or if they want to be the president, because there's two distinct roles of CEO versus president. CEO is the visionary that has the time to be able to do these kind of things. A president is someone that's in the day-to-day running the business and dealing with in operations. So anyway, there's lots of good stuff. I think we're running out of time. I've had a great conversation with you.
How do we, DJ Marc Rousso? How do we, if somebody wants to find out more about you or follow you? I mean, your website is JayMarc Homes. J-A-Y. Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. JayMarc Homes. We're in Seattle. Anyone that wants to come and go on a walk with me, I'm happy to schedule a time for you to come to Seattle and we can talk about your business and just and hear kind of some of your thoughts and some of your challenges. And if there's something I can do to be of assistance, I'm happy to help. And if you like house music, you can follow me on Instagram at DJ Marc Rousso, MarcRousso. And I'm at this point in my life, it's all about providing value with people. And I want to just be of service, because I know that there has been dozens and dozens of people that have stopped what they were doing and lent me a hand. And I wouldn't be here without mentors and or podcasts or books or seminars. And so, I love what it is that you're doing, Dom, and keep it up and being of service to people.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I love it. Marc, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been great. Absolutely fantastic. And hopefully we get a chance to meet face to face one day and maybe even have you back on the show.
Well, come down to Seattle. We can go for a walk.
Yeah, I will. When the Kraken start playing, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I just got tickets. So.
You're a season ticket holder.
I got a few tickets. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good. That's cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, Marc.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you again.